right, so get this. We are absolutely drowning in data in medicine.
Yeah.
Mountains of it. And clinical research, well, that's all about making sense of it all. And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Awesome.
Figuring out what data analysis and clinical research is all about, especially for all you aspiring CRAs out there.
Yeah. If you are thinking about becoming a CRA, this is going to be really important for you.
So we've got this awesome article from VIARES. It's this online clinical research training platform.
Oh.
And they break down data analysis into these 5 key steps. But before we get into that, I think it's important to understand, like, what even is data analysis?
You know, it's kind of like solving a puzzle. But instead of like, cardboard pieces, we're using data, we're using information.
Right.
And the goal to take all this raw information, all this stuff from clinical trials, and turn it into something that actually means something.
Into insights, you mean? Actionable insights.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, there are 5 steps, kind of like putting a puzzle together, right?
Yeah.
Each step is like revealing a little bit more of the picture. And we're going to go through all of them today.
Yep.
The first one is data collection. So what kind of data are we even talking about here?
Oh, if you imagine yourself as like a detective at a crime scene,
Okay.
you're going to be gathering clues from all over the place, fingerprints, witness statements, maybe you've even got some security footage. It's the same idea in clinical research.
Oh, interesting. So like patient demographics, medical history,
Yeah.
how they respond to treatment, even stuff like surveys.
You got it. We're trying to build up this whole picture of each participant.
Right, right. But I bet there's a difference between data that's collected during a trial and data that, like, already exists, right?
Yeah, for sure. You've got prospective data, which is gathered in real time during the trial.
Gotcha.
And then there's retrospective data, and this comes from records that already exist.
So, like, if a study's looking at a new diabetes drug, researchers would want to know the patient's blood sugar levels from, like, before the trial even started.
Exactly. And understanding the difference between those two, that's super important for a CRA.
I could see why, for data quality, accuracy, all that.
For sure.
But let's be honest. Gathering all this data, it can't always be a pretty process.
Nope.
What happens when things are, like, messy, missing information, inconsistencies,
Well, that's where data cleaning comes in.
Data cleaning,
And
yeah.
it's all about making sure that the data is accurate and reliable. Think of it like you're prepping your ingredients before you bake a cake.
Okay, yeah.
You wouldn't use like spoiled milk or a cracked egg. Right.
No way.
So data cleaning is like making sure those data ingredients are top-notch.
I like that analogy.
It's about fixing errors, removing duplicates, making sure the formats are all standardized. And honestly, CRAs, they spend a surprising amount of time on this step.
Really?
It's crucial, though.
Yeah, because a messy data set, that can lead to the wrong conclusions, which can, like, undermine the whole point of the research.
100.
So data cleaning. It's like the unsung hero of clinical research. Maybe not the most glamorous part, but super important.
Could have said it better myself. It's a skill that can really make you stand out as a CRA, for sure.
Okay, so we've collected our data, we've meticulously cleaned it.
Yeah.
Now what? What's next?
Now comes the really fun part, making sense of it all. That's where the statistical analysis comes in.
So we're talking more than just, like, averages and percentages, right?
Oh, yeah. We're talking about applying all sorts of statistical methods to identify patterns, relationships, trends in the data. This helps us answer those big research questions and, figure out if a new treatment actually works.
This is powerful stuff.
It is.
Can you give us a real-world example, maybe using our blood pressure trial from earlier?
Sure. Let's say we're collecting data on patients' blood pressure before and after they take this new drug.
Okay.
Statistical analysis lets us compare those readings to people taking a placebo or maybe a standard treatment, and then we can figure out if the new drug is actually doing anything.
So we're not just looking at individual data points, we're looking for trends.
Exactly. Big picture stuff. And making sure those conclusions are statistically significant. We need to be sure those results aren't just random chance.
Makes sense. Now, I know there are different types of statistical analyses. Can you give us a sneak peek at some of the approaches used in clinical research?
We're actually going to get into that more in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, good tease.
But just remember, as a CRA, understanding this stuff, that's key to making sure the data's good and the research findings are valid. You need to be able to speak the same language as the statisticians.
Gotcha. This is all super fascinating. I'm already starting to see how crucial data analysis is for clinical research, especially for CRAs. We've talked about data collection, cleaning, even touched on statistical analysis. Each step, like we said, plays a vital role in making sure the research is accurate and reliable.
You got it. And we're just getting started. In the next part, we'll dive into even more aspects of data analysis.
Ooh, can't wait. We'll be back after a quick break to delve even deeper. Stay with us.
See you in a bit. All right, welcome back to our deep dive on data analysis.
Before the break, we were talking about data cleaning, getting things nice and tidy.
Like prepping ingredients for a gourmet meal, right? Gotta make
Yeah.
sure everything's fresh.
Exactly. Now I'm ready to start cooking with some statistical analysis. You mentioned there were different types. Can you break that down for us?
Absolutely. Imagine you're a detective, you've got this big mystery to solve. First thing you do, gather all the evidence, lay it out on a table, right?
Okay.
That's kind of like descriptive statistics.
Good.
You're summarizing, organizing all the data you collected, just getting a sense of what you're working with.
So in our blood pressure trial example, this would be things like the average blood pressure of the participants,
Yeah,
the range of ages in the study.
exactly. Painting a picture of who's in your study. But to solve the mystery, you got to go deeper, right? You need
Yeah.
to start making connections, finding patterns, looking for clues.
So what's the statistical equivalent of a detective's magnifying glass?
That would be inferential statistics.
Uh,
This is where things get powerful. Now we can start making predictions about a larger group of people based on what we see in our trial.
okay, so if we see a positive effect from our new blood pressure drug in our trial participants,
Yeah,
inferential statistics can help us figure out if that effect is likely to be true for everyone with high blood pressure.
exactly. We're asking, is this real or just a fluke?
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
What are some of the specific tools you use in inferential statistics? You mentioned something called a t-test before.
Oh, the t-test, that's a classic. It's used to compare the averages of two groups, see if the difference is statistically significant.
Gotcha.
But there are tons more. ANOVA, chi-square tests, regression analysis. Each one's got its own strengths, depending on the data and what you're trying to find out.
It sounds like to be a CRA, you really need to have a good handle on these statistical tools.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You're going to be working with statisticians all the time, so understanding the basics, that's super helpful. It's like speaking the same language.
Definitely. So we've talked about describing our data,
Yeah.
then making inferences about larger populations. But going back to that detective analogy, sometimes they need more than just a list of clues.
Right.
Like they might make a map of the crime scene or a trend line to visualize everything, you know.
Exactly. You're talking about data modeling.
Data modeling, okay.
This is where we start building a representation of the data,
Yeah.
something we can look at, interact with, helps us understand the relationships between different variables.
So we're moving beyond just numbers in a spreadsheet. We're building a model, a visual way to see the data and understand how different factors might be connected.
That's it. And there are so many different types of models depending on what you need to do. Statistical models, they're great for showing correlations, how things relate to each other.
Yeah.
And then there are machine learning models. These guys can actually predict what might happen based on patterns they've learned from massive amounts of data.
Whoa, machine learning. Now we're getting futuristic.
It is pretty cutting edge. Think about it. We could predict which patients might respond best to a certain treatment just based on their genes or medical history. That's the power of machine learning.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It's real, though. Machine learning is already being used to personalize treatment plans, predict who's at risk for certain diseases, even speed up drug discovery. Clinical research is an exciting field to be in right now.
You're telling me. And CRAs are right in the middle of all this.
For sure, understanding these data analysis techniques, that's going to be crucial for CRAs in the future. It's about making a real impact on patient care.
Okay, I'm seriously blown away by all this. We've covered so much, from data cleaning to statistical models, even a little bit of machine learning.
It's a lot to take in.
But there's still one more step, interpreting those results, figuring out what it all means.
The grand finale. We've climbed that mountain of data. Now we get to enjoy the view from the top.
Love that. And that's where we'll pick up after the break. We'll talk about how to take those statistical findings and translate them into something meaningful, something that can change lives. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. We've been exploring this incredible world of data analysis and clinical research.
It's been quite a journey.
And now we've reached the summit. We're going to talk about interpreting the results.
Yeah, after all that data collection, all that cleaning, all that analysis,
Yeah, we finally get to answer the big question. What does it all mean?
it's time to take those numbers, those statistical findings, and turn them into something we can actually use, something that can help people.
Okay, I'm thinking back to our detective analogy again.
Yeah.
We've gathered the clues, analyzed the evidence, and now it's time to write the report.
Exactly. What's the story here?
So what makes a good interpretation of the results?
Well, first off, it has to be clear. Think about the people reading this report. They might not be statisticians, you know?
Good.
So clear language, no jargon, and everything presented in a logical way. You got to make it easy to understand.
So it's not just about the numbers themselves. It's about communicating what they mean.
You got it. You're telling a story, but the data is your story.
I like that. And this is where CRAs come in, right?
Oh, absolutely. CRAs are like the bridge between the data and everyone else.
Okay.
They summarize the findings, write the reports. They might even present the results at conferences.
So they need to be great communicators on top of all the analytical skills.
For sure. But there's more to it than just summarizing. We need to talk about what these findings mean. What are the implications?
The so what factor, right? What does this mean for patients, for future research?
Exactly. Does this support what we already know, or does it challenge our assumptions?
Oh, interesting.
Could it change how we treat patients? Does it open up new avenues for research? We got to connect the dots and see the bigger picture.
For example, if our blood pressure trial showed a significant decrease in blood pressure with a new drug compared to a placebo, what kind of implications would that have?
Well, that could lead to the drug being approved for more people. It could help millions of people with hypertension.
Wow.
And it could spark new research looking at similar drugs or new treatment approaches. There's so much potential.
That's incredible. It really shows how data analysis can make a real difference in people's lives.
100%. And even if a trial doesn't give us the results we expected, the interpretation phase helps us understand why. It guides future research.
So even a negative result can be valuable.
Absolutely. We're always learning, always building on what we know.
And part of that is making recommendations for future research, right?
That's the last piece of the puzzle. What are the next steps? What questions do we still need to answer?
So we're taking what we've learned and using it to guide the next discovery.
You got it. And CRAs, with their understanding of the data and the research process, they play a big role in this too.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive. Data analysis, from collecting the data to interpreting the result, it's also crucial for the success of clinical trials and ultimately for improving healthcare.
And if you're fascinated by this idea of using data to unlock medical mysteries, to really make a difference.
A career as a CRA might be the perfect fit.
And remember, this field is constantly evolving, always something new to learn.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey.
Until next time.
We'll see you then.